Alright, so The Mandalorian Season 3 debuted a couple of weeks ago. The season finished. I watched the whole series, and today I'm going to give you my review on it. But before I do that, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, comment down below. What did you guys think of the newest season of The Mandalorian? I know a lot of people are loving The Mandalorian's first two seasons. A lot of people aren't loving this season. It's the most controversial season by far. Made some interesting decisions. I want to know what you thought of those decisions down below in the comment section below. And with that said, I'm going to give you a little bit of context on my experience with The Mandalorian. Now, obviously, when the show first came out, it was a show that everyone watched because it was the first thing on the new big hit Disney streaming platform that I watched. Obviously, so I was excited about that platform because at that time, I wasn't mad at Disney for cranking out content and not caring about their quality. But anyways, I love the show. And then Mandalorian Season 2, I even have a review on that. I haven't watched that review of myself. I might, because I want to know what past self thought of The Mandalorian Season 2. But the seasons, when I rewatched them on my way up to remember them for Mandalorian Season 3, I'm not gonna lie, I just couldn't get into it. The first season is one of my least favorite Star Wars series. My second least favorite right after, I'm not gonna spoil it because I got a ranking of the seasons coming up. But, I mean, this show just didn't really appeal to me. I liked the second season, I really did. But it just didn't have enough things to make me just be like, I'm excited for the third season. So honestly, I was just nervous for it. I thought I would be walking right into another season of The Mandalorian. Just another season of The Mandalorian. And then I started Breaking Bad Season 2. So I finished that before I started the season. And then, obviously, the show ended before I started the season. So obviously, I was hearing all the things. And then all the negative press on this movie didn't make it something that I was all that too excited for. Did I like it? Answer, kind of. I mean, I don't really know. It's got some interesting things here. We're going to start off with the positives, and I can always appreciate the novelty of there being a Mandalorian season that's not just trying to be Mando goes on an adventure each episode, fights a bad guy, goes someplace else to try to learn something else, to go someplace else to do his quest for the season. I can appreciate that. There are several episodes here where we took away from the Mandalorian story. We even had an episode of Andor here. We had an interesting episode that felt like it was like a Blade Runner type episode. And I can appreciate the novelty there. Does it fit? No. But I can appreciate it. With every positive does come a bit of a mixed aspect to it. However, like I said, I can appreciate that they did it, but it just doesn't fit inside of this show. I sat back and I was like, what are we doing here? Because it feels like the show's not wanting to be a Mandalorian season. We get several episodes that we stray away from the Mandalorian, we go follow these other characters that in the end don't even have any connections to the final plot, and then we go on and we follow these other characters that in the end don't have any connections to the plot. And each episode, I watched it and I sat back, I was like, I had some interesting ideas, but what's going on in The Mandalorian? And the season is really at its best when it decides to be a season about The Mandalorian. When it decides to be a season following Din Djarin and what the season was supposed to be, Din Djarin and Bo-Katan going to go save Mandalore. That's what the season was supposed to be. And instead, it wasted a lot of its time with these stupid side quests. Grogu's gonna be a foundling. Din Djarin's gotta go wash his hands. There's even, like, the Blade Runner episode was just Rian and Bo-Katan go to try to find out who is causing all troubles on robots. That's what this was. That's what this season was. And the final two episodes focus on Bo-Katan and Din Djarin going to Mandalore and to try to save Mandalore. And those last two episodes are epic. Those are some of the best Mandalorian episodes. And I found myself really enjoying them watching it. And so with the rest of the season, why didn't we go that way? Why did we stay on the weird path instead of going on the straightforward, The Mandalorian, Bo-Katan, save Mandalore. That could have made this the best season by far. And it wasn't, because we just decided to do something different. And I can appreciate that they were like, let's do something different. It just doesn't fit inside this show. To the positives. We got, with the third season, it's clear that the budget's bigger. We got many really cool shots. The cinematography is great. There's a shot in the second episode where Mandalorian kicks somebody off a cliff, and that shot is beautiful. The cinematography is great, and I really liked it. But, like I said, with every positive comes a negative. I mean, seriously. Because the CGI is not all that good. Let me take this right here for a second. I'm going to reach over, and I'm going to grab Joker. This is Baby Yoda. He's going to jump into someone's arms. It literally looks like... That's it. That's what it looks like. Sorry, Joker. You deserve better than that. That's what it looks like. Seriously, that is what the CGI they decided to do there. There's a scene in, like, I think it was episode 7, where one of them creatures walks up and he's just like... Looks like a robot, and it looks like something out of, like, a PS2 video game. Like, the CGI is terrible. And I really liked the shots. Their cinematography was great. That looked beautiful. But the CGI is just not there. And on top of that, it doesn't even feel like anybody wants to be here. I mean, this is easily Pascal's worst performance ever. He was great in the first 2 seasons. And this, he's just like, all right, let's go, Baby Yoda. We got something to do. That's what it was. And I found myself just like, does anybody even care? And on top of that, and I know I said we'd do positives, because I do got one more. The dialogue is absolutely horror freaking horrendous. It's terrible. The dialogue is like, again, from a PS2 video game. Bo-Katan's sitting there is like, we got to do this so we can do this and we can do that. And Din Djarin's like, okay. Problem solved. Like, seriously. The dialogue is so distracting because the script is terrible. In case you can't get what I'm telling at, this script is probably one of the worst scripts I've ever seen for a TV series. I mean, who wrote this, man? Who wrote these episodes? Because it just doesn't make sense. Nobody wants to be here. Mandalorian needs to end. That's what happens. One more positive here before we talk a little more about some certain negatives I had with the series. The final 2 episodes, like I said, best Mandalorian episodes. When it focuses on taking Mandalore, it is so good and so great. The final episode challenges the second season's final episode. And I love the second season's final episode. I mean, Luke Skywalker's shown up in that, too. That is crazy. But having the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan have an epic fight-to-fight combat with, what's his name? Giancarlo Esposito. I wanted to call him Gus Fring for a second. They had this big fight, and like I said, the cinematography was great, so this fight was great, and it was just an epic finale, and that gave me everything I wanted from the series. Again, nothing that wasn't what the season was. So I mean, if it was that, I probably would have loved it, because I loved these last 2 episodes. But I just can't, because the season is just so warped and messed up, and I don't understand it. So, some of the negatives. Like I said, we didn't stay on track. The writing's terrible. The dialogue's terrible. Nobody even wants to be here. CGI isn't very good. I mean, you can go into a show expecting third season. We know third seasons for me is where the show starts to drop. Fourth seasons for me is when the show starts to pick up. Every show for me. I mean, Umbrella Academy, Cobra Kai, just everything. Except Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad season 3 is so good. But, I mean, that's just how it is. And this season, they always try to do something unique. They did something unique it just didn't work, and it didn't fit inside of Star Wars. It's just one of the most random and bogus stories to tell inside of Star Wars. I mean, nothing about it is something that I'm ever going to want to revisit this season for. If I ever do a rewatch, which I probably won't, I probably will be dreading watching the season, because to get there, each episode, I sat back and I was like, okay, here we go, doing this thing again. I was bored. I was uninterested. I don't think that Mandalorian Season 3 is any good. I didn't like doing this rewatch at all. I mean, doing this rewatch while watching the greatest show of all time, Breaking Bad, that's kind of hard not to just turn on Breaking Bad. And so that's what I had to do. And this season didn't make it any better. So for The Mandalorian Season number 3, it is going to be getting a C. And like I said, there were some positives, but every positive comes a negative. This is one of the most weird Mandalorian shows. I have a short already filmed. It's going to come up here in a few hours, ranking the Mandalorian seasons. And then in a couple of days, I'm going to have a ranking of all Star Wars seasons. So like Andor, Obi-Wan, every season of the Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. I'm going to rank all those seasons together. And then I have a Breaking Bad Season 2 review coming out tomorrow, because I'm very behind on videos and I got to get that one out. And then CinemaCon is almost over, so obviously I'm going to have CinemaCon videos next week. Mainly just a ranking of all the project panels by how excited I was. But I got a lot of videos coming up. So with that said, to watch those, please make sure to subscribe to join the Nerd Army. Peace out.